Check, check. Ooh, this is like the after, like, hey. Flashing light. Welcome to Friday night, late night Brave Faves. Let's give it up for these filmmakers, these artists, these late night makers of stories that are keeping us up late because we love the art form. Anybody else want some kettle corn? I have some extra for you. Again, profuse apologies. I know our theater manager, Robert. Oh man, I'm so sorry about that. You get a second showing. We can actually do it right after if anybody wants to stay. We'll watch it again. Blood Money. Come on up, Jezreel. Yeah, come on. You can hang out right here on the side. Yeah, buddy. All right, let's have you. Let's check out these microphones. Take it. Introduce yourself, who you are, what your film is, and could you say one thing about your film that you're most proud of, or a scene or an element, something about the film that makes you happy as you just watched it? Introductions, what you did on the film.
Hello, wait, is it on? Hello.
Check one, check two, microphones.
Hello.
It's
Hello?
on. You can. Oh,
Check what? Oh, we're live streaming right now to YouTube. Okay, all right. So just project.
oh, I see. Oh, we're pretending. Is that what we're doing?
Project.
I can do that.
But the live stream will hear it. Okay, good.
I'm Ashley St. George. I am the writer, director, and actor of Girl at Mirror. One of the things I'm proud of is that I made it.
Mm-hmm.
I made the film. And also that I had my niece involved who played my inner child. So, you said one thing, but and every single person who made it possible, because the truth is I could not have done it on my own. And my husband who shot the film, and Nadine who came on as producer, Nadine Crocker, who's my little angel baby. So, but yeah, that's I'm proud of. So,
your niece was a spitting image of you, I mean, obviously everyone says that.
Yeah, she could be my daughter. But it was really magical because the ages were very specific, because it's a cathartic interpretation of my life's journey of not feeling seen creatively, and her playing younger me at the age that she did at 10. It was just it was important. So, but yeah, so I'll be quiet now and pass the mic on.
I'll say, sometimes I'll chime in and say things, but I watched all these films, as does all of our team, on the laptops, and then watching on the big screen is really cool, that difference. I think I messaged you this, but I think your short is like a meditation for me, or almost like I could imagine it being played at like a retreat too, like get people in a retreat space and watch it and then talk about it and have like silence and go off into the wilderness and reaffirm your identity. It's really, really artistic and creative and almost, if I could say this, prayerful in a way.
I love that. Thank you.
Okay.
It is.
This for the stream. Got it.
It's a poem. It's a visual poem, and I think there are those moments, because I'm inspired by slow cinema. So I love having those moments where you can pause and just be with whatever's happening, the moment, the character, and interpret it in any way that you want to, because it's kind of like a song, right? So it kind of becomes your own. So it's a poem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great poem. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to toss it to Robert back there. Give it up for Ashley St. George, Girl at Mirror. Robert, introduce yourself, your film, and what you're most proud of.
Hi, Robert Flowers. I'm the writer-director of Blood Money. I'm most proud that I got to take such a talented group of actors and crew on the weird journey that is Blood Money. My intention was to make kind of a Twilight Zone episode, and so so that's definitely the thing I'm most proud of, that everyone decided to go with me on madness, as I have called it. So,
what inspired the twist, or how did that idea come to be?
Originally, it was a smaller monster, and then my good friend and director, filmmaker friend Peter, pitched me an idea as we were going over the edit, and I just fell in love with it. I'm like, yeah, that's the punctuation mark on the picture. And so I wanted to go this really surreal monster, this corporate monster that which is part of the metaphor of a lot of what's happening in the short. And so I thought it was a big thing that I, breadcrumbed a little bit throughout the story, but I thought it would really take the audience by surprise. So
I like to give blood, but I don't want to do it for a while, so thank you for that. The blood just was very real looking, so there's so many ways people do it. What was your use? What'd you do?
I had a really pretty intense blood and makeup artist, Danielle, who just loved it, and she was testing it out on me in pre-production. So she built like the prosthetic on my arm, and we just found the blood. And then on the days with it, she was hardcore about it. I don't like blood. Like, I faint at the sight of my own blood.
Oh my gosh!
And I found that out the hard way.
Yeah. Okay.
I was taking one of those home test things to see if you're a diabetic, and I nearly fainted in my bathroom, and my wife saw me do that. So I actually sold my plasma for money many, many, many years ago when I first moved to LA. I was very poor, and I needed gas money to go to a job interview. And I almost died in the process because I'm a big guy, and they thought, oh, we'll just crank the thing all the way up for you. And I started to fade to black. I'm like, I'm going to bleed out and fucking die. And they ran like, oh, God, sorry. And I had to stay there for like an hour afterward. And I got $75 for my life sore.
Oh, my gosh, for your trauma.
Yeah. And I checked again recently because this was many, many years ago. And it's still $70.
Wow.
So inflation sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When you said we could sell, I didn't realize we could make money from that.
Yeah.
That made me want to do it. So now.
Yeah. If you don't have a problem with
I'm
needles.
Desperate, yeah.
It's like 9 to 5. You go in there, it's like a bar. Hey, Johnny. Hey, boop. And
well, good. It provided a movie. Okay.
Exactly.
Thanks, Robert. All right, next, Luke.
Hi, I'm Luke Miller. I'm here with Prophet. I was the cinematographer, and Diana, the director and lead, couldn't make it. I think I'm most proud that we survived. We shot this film during a heat wave. It was the hottest summer in LA. It was the hottest September in a long time. And so this final scene's in her apartment. It was like 95 inside, and it was a long day, and we made it through. But and also, I love working with directors who are on camera as well, because then I get a little bit more input, I guess you'd say. I get a lot more involved.
You mean because the actor who's the director has to think as an actor, and you're like, ooh, I get to make some creative decidecisions here, potentially.
Yeah, and mostly for me, it's about looking out to make sure that actor-director is getting what they've told me they want.
Cool.
Because it's very hard in real time to know if you're getting what you want when you're the one on camera. So.
And have you collaborated with Diana before?
This was the first time for us.
Okay.
But I'd happily work with her again. It was, I thought she did wonderfully, and it's a fun project. So.
Yeah, right on. Awesome. Thanks, Luke. Let's go to Dominic.
Hi, my name's Dominic Mercurio. I'm the writer-director of He Won't Belong, the story about two men who meet in the midst of the storm, coastal storm.
And a Redwood City former resident. Welcome back.
Yeah, born and raised in Redwood City. It's really cool, actually, to see that now there's a film festival here. There was this theater wasn't even here when I was growing up, so it's pretty cool. So props to you guys for making it happen.
What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? I mean, I think it's a similar answer, like just getting it done, making it happen. I think there's so many roadblocks for making a film that every time you get over one, you're like, you think that's the end, and then there's another one, there's another hill to climb. I feel like with this, my mind goes right to like shooting in the midst of COVID. Like we shot January 2022, which if you look at those charts is like the highest little spike up there is. And, it was terrifying because we were like, you kind of just have to pick a date and go with it at a certain point. And so that just ended up being our date, and we kind of made our bubble and crossed our fingers, but doing it safely, of course, was a challenge, but one that we were able to do.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Dominic, we have a intimacy coordination workshop on Sunday. That there was some intimacy on camera. How did you work through that?
Yeah, that particular part was shot in San Francisco. The rest of it was shot up in Sea Ranch. How did I go about that? Well, we didn't have an intimacy coordinator, though. I do think that is, I think a very valuable thing to have on set. But I directly talked with both actors deeply about, feeling comfortable in that scene, and discussed intimacy coordinators and figured out if we wanted to go that route, or if the three of us collectively kind of decided that we would just keep it hyper minimal. I think it was just us three and my cinematographer in that room. And it's sort of like a dance in a way.
Yep.
It's when you're doing something that resembles a sex scene, I guess, you figure out the motions, and it's more just like going through it. So at a certain point, it was not like, I think there was a comfort for all of us.
Yeah, with Heather, our intimacy coordinator that I've worked with, she's like you got to think about it like choreography. So yeah, that's
Exactly.
great. And if you're interested in that, Sunday, 12:15 at the Hub. Awesome. Next, the After team.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Paul Johnstone, and I'm one of the producers of The After. I should really let Jez go first of what his favorite scene is, but mine, I can just quickly say, is probably, there's a lot that I like about the film, obviously, but I think what I really like is one of the shots we got, which is Omar in the chair, and just at the right moment, the fly lands on his head and walks around his forehead, and it was just like, we can plan for that. We were talking about doing a CGI fly.
I thought it was.
Just to enhance that.
I thought it was.
That was a natural fly. So,
Yes.
yeah.
The Mike Pence fly.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, Jez.
The fly was a paid actor, just saying.
SAG, union or not? Yeah.
My name is Jezro Gandara. I am the writer, director, and producer for The After. Something I'm most proud of is I think it's a crew. I think they carried me through it in times that I was like half asleep, and they just knew what I wanted, and so I communicate that early on, and so they were able to pull it off at times that I was like hazed and stuff because of the no sleep time. But overall, I think the crew kind of came together. 3 rough days, but kind of put it through, so that was good.
Questions. We have about 7 or 8 minutes. Raise your hand, shout them out. I will repeat it. Who wants to start? Any questions you have? Go ahead, Noah. Music, sound design. Talk about the creation of that for your projects. Let's start with Jez. Let's go all the way back down.
I think for mine, it was just like this. A while back, I did this other like poetic video of this tree breaking, and I think that sound always sounded so weird and interesting to me. So I used that a lot as the biggest theme in the film. Yeah, I think that's kind of where my mind went for all of it.
To end with your film, one of our team leaned over and said, "What did you say, Sophia? Do you want to say what you said?" Or, that's terrifying. You terrified the heck out of us. Good work. All right, next.
Sound and music is like the number one thing to me when I'm making a film, to be honest. Like, I started with music videos, and in thinking about this film, some of the first things that were even coming to me were like music related. The 3 songs that are in the film were written into the script, and were like, I very specifically wanted to get these 3 songs, the one at the beginning, the one during the nightmare sequence, and the one at the end. And it was a crazy process to get it. I mean, like tracking down, like getting the rights to those 3 songs was crazy. But outside of the music, sound design is also super important to me. I co-did the sound design for my short film, and I mean, I just like obsess. I just like go through sound libraries and until I hear like something weird that's just like, oh my god, that really evokes this room or this movement of the camera or whatever it is. Like, I spend a long time with sound design, and I think it's one of the most important parts of a film.
Thanks, Tom and Ashley.
The movies mainly, obviously visuals, but the sound, there's not a lot of dialogue. And I knew early on exactly what I wanted. And it manifested while I was creating the script. It was just something would pop in my head that I knew I needed that sound for that particular moment and that image to come together. And then I was so fortunate to have an incredible team to do the sound mixing and the composer that I found that helped bring it to life. But it really was it was all emotions. So what kind of sounds that would help amplify that particular moment? I don't know if that was clear of an answer, but yeah.
And this one, I was acknowledging Las Vegas. So you went to the desert in Vegas, I assume, yeah?
So, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, this is a different question.
Yeah.
I grew up my teenage years in Las Vegas, so my family's still there. My niece is there. So we had to film those desert scenes right outside of Las Vegas. So we had the smallest crew. We had the tiniest little crew in Vegas, and then the tiniest little crew in Los Angeles. But part of it was Las Vegas.
Cool.
Yeah.
So on Prophet, it was mostly a naturalistic soundscape that she went for, but I think the montage music really helped it flow along. One thing I know that Diana was proud of for her sound design was when she hit her head on the cauldron, it was like, I can't remember what movie she took it from, but it's like a classic, like, cartoon, like pot hitting someone over the head. And if you listen for it, it's really a funny noise, but in the moment, it works.
Well, even that time when they're bonging on her head, bong, bong. What do you call that thing? It's like a...
Oh, the bowl, yeah.
The bowl, the sound what? Sound bowl, yeah, like on her head. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Funny, the sound journey was interesting for me because this was the first time I've done horror like this, and obviously sound is very important with it. But I actually went back and recut picture when I was working with my post-sound team on a few scenes, and it was interesting because I learned, like, oh, you know what? If I know this ahead of time that I'm going to do this sound thing right here, my cutting might be different in this little scene here and here. So when he first walks into Douglas Kaler, it was super cutty the first time we did it. I'm like, well, I want to plant the seed of the monster that is in the building that we see at the very end. And so, like, let's slow that down. And so I went back, recut it, sent it to my post-sound team, and they were great. And that song, Monster in Me, when she came up with that, because I was like, I want to counterpoint the tone. I was really fucking with tone the entire time on this movie because I was like, we're weird. I'm Dutch half the time. I'm shooting at 2:7 aspect ratio. Let's keep pushing it. And so, she came up with that tune, and I'm like, oh, I love it. And then I made her rewrite the song because I thought it might give too much away. And in the end, I ended up sticking with her Monster and Me song that I thought was just a really good juxtaposition. But yeah, all the sound stuff was my post team, and they were great. And again, they went along on the ride with me, and they're like, hey, you have more changes, keep coming. And I just said, oh, what about this? And like, yeah. I'm like, well, dial this down. Let's amp this, and let's plant the monster here and the monster here, and then we'll have our big fucking payoff at the end. And they really surprised me, and it was really a really amazing experience to see them do their work, and they were so talented and so patient with me. So, yeah, it was a blast. Definitely.
I want to acknowledge your lead actor, Ramon Guzman.
Yes.
Guzman is here, who he's right up there. Give a round of applause because he's one of my favorite people. I love him in stuff, and it was really cool to see you bloody, Ramon. Good work, and very pale and thin looking, and all the things that you're normally not. So well done. But all the acting things. I didn't mean that thin, like you know what I meant. You're healthy. You're healthy and fit. That's what I meant. Time for one last question. One last question. Yeah, up there.
What were some of the takeaways, or what were some of the lessons that you guys took away, or a lesson that you took away now that you're finished with your film?
I always love that question. A lesson you took away. What will you do different? What did you learn? How will you implement that on your next work? And we got to do this in 3 minutes. So, lightning round. Here we go. Go ahead, Robert. Let's go. Let's go back down this way.
Again, along with the sound stuff, knowing that ahead of time, I think planning with that in pre-production more is going to help me on my next thing, which I'm already planning on doing. So the sound stuff with my sound team and my DP is going to help a ton. So that was a big takeaway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everything worked out great.
It worked out pretty well. I learned some editing because I helped Diana with an assembly before we did like our first few days of the cut, our first few days of shooting, and we did a cut to figure out what we needed. And I would recommend doing that to anyone if you have a low budget.
Few days of shooting, and you still had more to shoot?
So we had our original days of production, and we didn't have the script complete. There was like a few things we were missing. So she assembled the picture to figure out what was missing.
Yeah.
And I think on projects in this budget range or this independent level, that's a genius way to go about it. Don't stress over, I didn't get every single thing I wanted. Like, cut it together, because you'll figure out what you actually still need and what you didn't really need to begin with. And I think, that's just how we did it, and it worked out really well. And then when we came back for like a day and a scene, we got exactly what we needed. There was no time wasted. And, it was kind of easy to accomplish.
Cool.
Many things learned, but the one I'll talk about very briefly is, in this business, you're going to work with a lot of maybe sometimes terrible people. But there are people that are wonderful, that are willing to help you. And do not be afraid to ask for help. And that is definitely one thing I took from making my first short.
Short, give it up.
My first
Come
short.
on. Acting, directing, yes. That's great.
Yeah, so that's my answer.
That's a thematic, I feel like, over these 2 days. Just tell people what you want, speak it out, ask it out, be specific. Yeah, it's great. Dominic.
I guess to not be so hard on myself in the process of making a film. I think it's overwhelming to do in many ways, and I really relied on the people around me, my incredible cast and crew, and I feel like I probably didn't seem like I was super nervous the entire time I was shooting, but I was incredibly nervous. I had a panic attack on set privately in my room, and I think there can be some breathing that happens, you can.
I think I saw that in your film too, the panic attacks, right? I think you were putting that into your work, and that's a part of the story and the personal part of it as well, yeah?
It is, right? And then it's you would hope that by making a film about panic, then maybe you would learn to not be so panicked. So we'll see what happens next time.
Well, going back to, the meditation of how film can be also therapeutic, the coastal moments, also the respite and the taking time amidst the nightmares. I really took that away from you too, so that's great. Awesome, you guys.
This is the first film that I've done where I've just been mainly the producer. Previously, I've written and directed, also produced those to get those off the ground and everything. But this is the first film where I've really kind of seen how I can be of use, in that sense as a producer, and to support Jez and his vision. Jez and Ray wrote a great script. It was talked to my sensibilities, the stuff I'm interested in. And I just wanted to be involved and help out any way I can. And I think taken from that, I've maybe learned a thing or two about producing, and also, kicking off a working relationship with Jez and Ray. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Natalia, who was your lead, was in one of my shorts too. So I love seeing other Bay Area actors featured. She's great.
Yeah, she's a badass. I think like a lot of you guys said as well, I shot a lot more than what we saw up there. I cut a lot of scenes, unfortunately. Maybe in another cut I will release it, but I did want too much for those 3 days. We shot way too much for those 3 days, and I think we said it. Somebody said in the previous panel that if you just have like 3 really beautiful shots, that should be enough to make your scene. I think it was Nadine, but so definitely that was.
That would be a good
big.
challenge. Like make a short,
Yes,
and only give yourself 3. Yeah, that's good.
And then also bringing together a good crew. I think that's what makes up the movie, and that's what like literally carried the whole movie. And having the right people on board is important.
It's beautiful. And that's our night, everybody. It's midnight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting BraveMaker Day 2. We're still here, Day 3 and Day 4. Family friendly is tomorrow. We have more workshops on filmmaking and mental health tomorrow. Our Pitch Fest is happening at the museum. Check your local listings. Go to bravemaker.com/filmfest. And if you can become a donor, literally $5 or $10 or $25 a month will help us have a year 7. You can text the word BraveMaker, one word, to 44321. That's BraveMaker to 44321. Thanks, everybody. The filmmakers, please go out and grab some photos in the red carpet. Everybody else, please take photos of them on the red carpet and follow them and support their work in the future. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to Strathty Media team. You're awesome, and it's late, and I appreciate you. Thank you to volunteers. Monday.